Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there in the first place? You stop for a moment, looking around, trying to recall what your brain wanted you to do. For a few seconds, it feels confusing, even frustrating, as if your mind has played a trick on you. Then you walk back to the original spot, and suddenly the memory clicks back into place. Strange, right? But this is not magic at all. Psychologists call it the doorway effect. The doorway effect is one of the most fascinating quirks of human memory. Each time you walk through a doorway, your brain treats it like crossing a boundary, an invisible line that tells your mind, this is a new chapter. Just like flipping to the next page in a book, the brain stores your previous thoughts into another mental folder. That's why when you step into a new room, the thought you were holding on to often slips away. Researchers at the University of Notre Dame tested this effect in a clever experiment. Participants were asked to carry objects from one table to another, sometimes within the same room, sometimes after passing through a doorway. The results were striking. People were far more likely to forget what they were carrying once they had walked through a doorway. The doorway itself acted like a mental reset button. Think about daily life. You get up from the couch to grab your phone charger from the bedroom. As you pass through the hallway and step across the doorway, the thought just vanishes. You stand there, staring at the dresser, puzzled. Why did I come in here? At that moment, your brain has filed away the memory of getting the charger into the background. But when you retrace your steps, walking back to the couch, the memory suddenly returns. Your brain reconnects with the earlier context, the couch, the living room, the moment you realized your phone was dying. It feels like remembering something out of nowhere, but really, it is your mind reactivating the previous mental scene. This effect isn't limited to physical doors. Psychologists suggest that any kind of boundary can trigger the same reset. Switching tabs on your computer, jumping between apps on your phone, or even starting a new chapter in a book can act like a doorway. That's why you might forget what you were about to Google the moment you open a browser, or lose track of your thought mid-conversation when the topic suddenly shifts. The doorway effect also reveals something important. Our memory isn't like a perfect video camera. It doesn't record everything equally. Instead, memory is reconstructive, relying on context and cues. When the context shifts, like moving from one room to another, the brain assumes the old context is less relevant, so it deprioritizes the memory. But you are not helpless. There are ways to fight back against the doorway effect. One simple trick is to say your intention out loud. I'm going to the bedroom to get my charger. Verbalizing makes the thought stronger, harder for your brain to toss aside. Another method is to visualize yourself completing the task before you move. That mental rehearsal strengthens your working memory. At the same time, we shouldn't see forgetting as a weakness. In fact, it shows how efficient our brains really are. Imagine if you remembered every little detail all the time. It would be overwhelming. Forgetting helps us focus on what matters most, filter out the noise, and stay present in the moment. It's a feature, not a failure. So, the next time you find yourself standing in a room, puzzled about why you came in, smile. You are not absent-minded, you're just experiencing the doorway effect. It's a fascinating little glitch that reminds us how dynamic and adaptive the human mind really is. In a way, it connects us all, because every step across a doorway is a reminder of how beautifully complex memory can be.